The Boys Season 2 just came to an end in awesome fashion, delivering some of the best moments of the show so far, and proving that girls do indeed get it done. And after digesting everything I had just watched in the season finale, I couldn't help but think how far the show and its characters had already come over just 16 episodes. While some shows seem to struggle to flesh out their handful of main characters, The Boys seems to defy odds by giving all the characters on screen well-rounded, meaningful moments. There is so much to talk about on all of these characters, but for right now, I'm going to focus on the boy that kicked off the series, Hughie Campbell. With a show that has so many strong characters that all get proper development, it can sometimes get lost on us just where it all started. But it's the journey and progression of our favorite nerdy badass that has been the through line keeping the entire show moving. So let's take a look at how far Hughie has come and how he got there. We start at the beginning of Season 1, Episode 1, when we first meet Hughie, and it's established right off the bat that he is nothing more than an ordinary person. He's presented as a boring, nerdy guy, but I love how they actually do this in a realistic way, as opposed to the overused, stereotypical, girlfriendless loser living in his mom's basement playing video games. Instead, they show Hughie at a basic, boring, low-wage job that he seems to be very knowledgeable about and like to some degree, but he's still just kind of getting through the workday. We see that Hughie is unassertive and lacks confidence, unable to ask his boss for a well-deserved raise.
I really need to talk to you about
Later,
something.
kid.
Okay, cool.
That's okay though, because at the end of the day, he gets to be with his loving, supportive girlfriend Robin. Again, this feels like a much more true-to-life representation of just a guy living a normal life. That is until Robin gets obliterated by A-Train.
Robin!
And of course, it's this moment that sets our character's journey in motion. Through the next set of episodes, we see Hughie grapple with the situation he's found himself in. We see him dealing with his anxieties and fears, gradually being able to overcome some of these as he becomes a bit more confident in himself. In the first episode, when he meets with a Vought representative, we see him imagining a situation where he grabs the guy and tells him off. A glimpse of what he truly feels but can't express. We see this explored further throughout the series as he slowly begins to bring out that more assertive side of himself. Like when he comes face to face with A-Train and is able to quell his anxiety and complete his mission. Or when he hilariously blackmails Ezekiel for information about Compound V.
You played my butt like jazz, with poise and skill and willingness to improvise.
But still, the situation he's found himself in is just too much for him, and he refuses to accept the amount of trouble he is truly in. And all hope of returning to a normal life goes out the window when he gets his hands dirty and blows up Translucent. It's from this moment on that there is no hope of turning back to a normal life. He is officially knee-deep in shit. But of course, this isn't Hughie's only problem. He's also met Annie, aka Starlight, whom he has a romantic connection with. However, Butcher only sees Starlight as another soup, which means another enemy, and someone that can potentially help them get more information on Vought and the Seven.
She's not a bad person.
She's a soup, Hughie. Just like the fucking rest of them.
Hughie finds himself conflicted between helping Butcher and being in a relationship with Annie. We see him lie to Annie multiple times, as well as use her to help Butcher and the boys get closer to their ultimate goal of taking down Vought. But he never does it maliciously per se. He's just stuck between both sides and lacks the confidence to express how he feels to either party. That is until the end of Season 1, when he finally stands up to Butcher and tells him off, opting to go save Mother's Milk and Frenchie.
Mallory's right. You're just gonna drag us all down with you. Not me. Not anymore.
And following this big moment, we see another telling moment from Hughie, when he decides to be the bigger man and save A-Train, as opposed to letting vengeance consume him like he has seen it do to Butcher. And that's where we leave off with Hughie in Season 1. Now on to Season 2, which I think can be split into two parts when talking about Hughie. The first part is the first 3 episodes of the season. During this span, we see a power struggle between Hughie and Butcher. Hughie is mad that Butcher left them at the end of the last season to go chase Homelander, and doesn't think he should just be welcomed back with open arms. This leads to Butcher punching Hughie, and then Hughie punching Butcher, and it all leads to an ultimate breaking point for Hughie, especially after Butcher puts him deep into a whale carcass. Everything that has transpired since Robin's death has been building up, and it's starting to take its mental toll on poor Hughie. The analogy MM uses about Hughie being Butcher's canary is a perfect way to describe it. In case you don't know, miners used to use canaries as a warning signal for danger. If the canary died, it would let the miners know that there were toxic gases present and that they would need to pull back and evacuate. And as MM warns, Butcher is pushing everyone way too far, disregarding the mental and physical danger the team is in, especially concerning Hughie. Hughie even accepts his death at the hands of Starlight, giving her a nod as he has all but given up. Luckily though, Butcher saves Hughie at the last second with a well-placed
Oi, cunt!
and the two are able to reconcile things, which brings Hughie back from the brink. And this leads to the second half of Hughie's Season 2 journey, which we see mainly focus on his and Starlight's relationship. In the first half of Season 2, we saw that their relationship was on a downward path, as Hughie was struggling to cope with his overall situation. The second half, however, has more ups and downs. They have some great bonding time, singing Billy Joel together and arguing about almond joys, and even sleep together. But Starlight ruins the mood by saying they can no longer be together due to safety concerns. Things start to sway the other way again, though, after Hughie is injured by a soup and then rescued by Annie. And then Hughie rescues Annie in the next episode, despite still recovering from said injury. Now, I want to mention a conversation Hughie and Annie have in the Season 2 finale. Hughie discusses that his love for Billy Joel comes from his mother, and that when he was younger, they used to dance to his songs together. He also explains that she's still alive, but she randomly left one day when he was 6. He says this is the reason why he hangs in there, because he doesn't want to be like her. We see this sentiment mirrored in the very first episode of the show, when he's about to run away after the translucent attack, but decides to stay and help Butcher. Now, it's extremely interesting that the show includes these details. I definitely see his mother coming back in some sort of role down the line. This confession by Hughie is a real big bonding moment for the two, and in the end, everything seems to work out for them, as the season ends with them back together as a couple. Hughie's outlook on life seems positive for the first time since Robin's death, and he takes his newfound independence straight into another horrible situation. But that's for next season. Hughie has definitely become a much more confident, independent character from the scared, anxious boy we met in the beginning of Season 1. After initially leaning on others to get by, he decides to take ownership of his own life and start living as his own person, without the help of others. Or as he puts it, he's gonna start standing on his own 2 feet. Unfortunately for him though, those 2 feet are planted in the office of Congresswoman Headpopper. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how Hughie handles it when he finds out he's working for the enemy. Through only 16 episodes, we have already had so much character development and growth from Hughie, and I can't wait to see how his character continues to evolve over the coming seasons. That's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I do plan on doing more videos just like it. There was so much good stuff to talk about in this series, so stick around for that. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.